Hey guys, happy Friday. I hope things are going well. The Average Joe t-shirts are honestly really selling very well. So if you want one, I highly suggest you do it. We're already out of size medium for the baby vacation shirts, and we're running low on smalls in the mac and cheese shirt. So if you want one, highly suggest you click the link in the description and jump on that. Again, thank you to everybody who supported us on Patreon. If you're giving us $10 a month, then you should see your name in the opening credits of all the episodes. If you can't give $10 a month, if you give us $4 a month, it's just $1 a sketch, then you get to see every one that we release a day early. So whereas everybody else gets to see them on Wednesday, you get them on Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed this past week's Average Joe short, Talk Dirty to Me, featuring Hannah Pilkus. That was a lot of fun, and it's, judging by the comments, it seems like you guys liked it. A lot of you guys said it was your favorite one that we've put out yet. The fact that, to me, Dirty Talk is just weird and goofy and awkward, and I don't really know how to do it very well, and I never have. Over the years, I've managed to get better at it, but one case in particular in high school, or no, college, it was my freshman year, and I was like fooling around with a girl, and we were like kissing, and then I sat up, and I was like, oh, I can't believe I'm telling you guys this. I was like, so, have you ever read a Choose Your Own Adventure book? She's like, yeah. And I was like, well, if you turn to page 24, I'm going down on you. And page 48, you're going down on me. And then she just looked at me very blankly, which was a reasonable response. And then in that moment, I realized that that was the dumbest thing you could say. So I excused myself and just like went into the bathroom, not because I had to go, but because I was like, let's just hit the reset button on this. I'm just going to like stand here and judge myself for like 3 minutes. And then hopefully that'll just be a refresher. You know, we can just like not acknowledge that that ever happened. And thankfully, oh, she was a nice soul, because that was the case. And then, you know, things went along fine after that. But the whole idea of it to me is just really silly. And I thought it would be a fun thing to explore. So Hannah and I talked about it. And then we thought it'd be really funny to just do a video where it's the most literal interpretation of Dirty Talk ever. So that was kind of the idea of it. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and she's always fun to work with. We've had her on the show a bunch of times, and she's a really funny Viner too, so check her out on the Vine if you do that. I'm putting the final touches on next week's short called Don't Fuck with Shorty McNuggets. It's so epic that we actually are going to have to break it up into 2 parts, so part 1 will be coming next Wednesday. And I think it's really funny, and that was with Dang Matt Smith, who I've talked about before. The marathon training is happening. I am doing it. Took advantage of the Cyber Monday online sales and got some new running kits, some new shoes, because I hadn't bought new shoes in like 2 years, and my feet hurt. So I found that it's easier to do things like buy shoes than actually use them, you know? I find that in a lot of my life. It's easy to like buy a self-help book, and then it can just sit on your shelf. And you're like, well, I bought it, but I'm not going to read it. So I've just been forcing myself to actually use the shoes that I bought, and it's been going well. I think the other big battle is, I don't know if you guys have this, but I call it bed logic. Like every day, my plan is to like wake up at 7 and then go for a jog and then start my day. But when I wake up at 7, it's really hard to get out of bed. Like bed logic takes over, and it's like, you know, you don't need to run right now. You could run later in the day. You should just probably go back to sleep. I've been battling this my whole life. I also wanted to let you guys know that in the next couple weeks, we're going to be releasing a special promo code where you can watch the feature film that we made, Welcome to Forever, for free. We just want the most people possible to watch it, so I'll be filling you in on that in the near future. All right, let's answer some questions. Lorax wants to know if I would ever consider doing a type of tour where I could go to different countries and meet some of the fans, and I will keep being awesome. You too. I would love that. I would really love to do that internationally and also just around the U.S. I'm developing sort of a live variety show with a buddy of mine that we're hoping to start doing like twice a month here in LA after the new year. And, if that goes well, we'd love to try and take that on the road. As is often the case, money becomes an issue, so we'd have to make sure that people would actually come. But yeah, that's something I would love to do. I'd love to do a live show and interact with people directly and hear the laughs directly. Because as much fun as the show is, the one drawback is that I can't hear you guys laughing, which is kind of the great joy of making comedy. So hopefully one day, yes, we will do a live traveling show and it'll be crazy and fun and silly and awesome. Jeffrey wants to know if there is a comedian or actor that inspired me to do what I'm doing, or was it just someone in my family, or pure independence? Jeffrey, hello. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I was inspired by a lot of people. I think as far as comedians and performers go, Steve Martin and Mel Brooks and Jim Carrey and Adam Sandler, they all sort of played parts in it. And yeah, my family. I mean, on both sides, but I spent a lot of time with my dad's side of the family in Cincinnati, and we're all just when we're all together, we're just really funny and silly, and we love quoting Seinfeld and Arrested Development and other shows, and so there was just a lot of laughter, and I think that that had a big part in it too. And the last big inspiration was my fifth grade teacher, Dr. Hinton. She really encouraged me to be a class clown. I think she could see that that's who I was. And so she laughed a lot. My goal was to make her laugh every day and make my classmates laugh every day. And I used to have this thing I did where I'd wrap a flannel shirt around my neck like a cape and call myself Flannel Man. I'm eternally grateful because she really embraced who I am and the silly nature of how I view life. And so, it's funny, you never know where or who is going to walk into your life and be an inspiration or be somebody that inspires you to be the best version of yourself that you can be, or in my case, the goofiest version of myself. Eve James has a serious fear of falling on her face and wants to know how to get over it. And also has a fear that nobody likes her and they're just pretending. I'll answer the first question first, Eve. I can relate entirely. There's actually something we call the Flanders ankles on my dad's side of the family. We just have terrible ankles. There was one Thanksgiving where I think of the 15 of us, 10 of us tripped on the same piece of carpet over the course of the day. And it's just a catastrophe all the time. Also, I was born with club feet. And I don't know if you know what that means, but basically when I was born, as opposed to my feet like this, they were like this. So I had to wear casts for the first 9 months of my life to straighten that out. But because of that, my balance has always been kind of wonky. So I'm always terrified of falling when I'm walking. But I'd say the best thing you can do is maybe avoid cracks and keep walking and, embrace the fear. I really don't have a good answer for this one. You just kind of have to keep doing it. Unless it gets to the point where you're so terrified that you just end up in a wheelchair, which may have its advantages, but I would suggest just trying to get through it. I've mastered a pretty good skill of just constantly looking down while I'm talking to people, and I've gotten better at it. I don't trip as much as I used to. The worst is when I'm going hiking or something because I never trust myself on a gravel path or anything that's uneven. So we're out in nature and all I'm doing is just looking at the ground to make sure I don't fall down a hill. But, as time goes on, I continue to find ways to cope with the dreaded Flanders ankles. And as far as feel like nobody likes you and they're just pretending, I think we all have feelings of that from time to time. Just 2 days ago, I texted somebody, and then after an hour of not hearing back from them, I started thinking oh God, did I do something? Did I offend them? Did they take something I said out of context? And then they responded an hour later as if nothing happened because nothing did happen. And so I think you got to remember that as much as we think that somebody else is thinking about us all the time, they're probably not. They're probably dealing with their own shit, and whatever you said that you think may have offended them or may have bothered them, it probably didn't. Unless you said you wanted to fuck their mother, in which case maybe they would be offended, because, you shouldn't say that. Unless you really want to. But still, you should probably keep that to yourself. generally people will let you know if they like you or not. I think the best thing to do is just to not be concerned about whether or not people like you, which again is easier said than done. But if you can like yourself and find happiness in every day from yourself and not be dependent on others to bring you happiness, then I think that's a really good way to sort of go about your days. So hopefully that helps. I know some of that sounded cliche, but I think it's honestly true. Nava Chestnut wants to know if I wish Average Joe had a larger fan base, and am I satisfied with the current fan base? Yeah, absolutely. I want a bigger fan base. Um, I think, having said that, though, I'm really thankful for the audience that the show does have, and for all of you that watch this and tune in. And so, I think if you're a big fan of the show, the best thing that you can do if you can't give us money is just continue to watch and retweet and subscribe and share it with your friends and do everything that you can to help us get a bigger fan base. And if you do that, then I'll hold up to my end of the bargain, which is to continue to put out stuff for you guys to share and like and subscribe to. So, yeah, I want a bigger fan base, but, I realize how hard it is to even have the size fan base that we have now. So I'm appreciative, but I'm also hungry. All right, guys, that is all that I have to say this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again for the questions. If you have any more questions, just put them in the comments section. I'll get to them next week. And just a reminder to click the link to buy the Average Joe t-shirts or to support us on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy next week's short. I'll be back next week. I'm going to go eat some mac and cheese right now.